Hello there. Number one. My name is Duke the Clayspoon. So, recently I posted a YouTube short asking people any ideas they might have for future videos that I could do. I read through those comments. I got a recommendation to talk about trains and history. I think we can do that. I love history, and I like trains. Another person sent a series of emojis, including a skunk farting and what looked like John Lennon. I did my best to translate that into words, but still, all great ideas, guys, and thank you very much for helping me out here. For this first video, I'm just gonna talk about a random topic, and I thought it would be good to start with something that affects me in my everyday life. So, something I've probably never shared with people before is that I am autistic. Specifically, I am diagnosed with high-functioning Asperger's. And there's not everyone knows a whole lot about autism. It's a lot easier to understand when you're actually autistic. Well, today I'm going to provide some perspective based on my experience. So one of the most common symptoms of autism is your sensitivity to certain senses is significantly heightened. It's different for everyone. Some people might not like the feeling of certain clothes. Some people might not like certain bright lights. I am very sensitive to different sounds. It could be a variety of things. I especially dislike very sudden, unexpected, shrill sounds. One of my least favorites is to hear a dog barking. The sound makes me very uncomfortable, and it probably doesn't help that when I was younger, I had a dog play very rough with me, and it caused an injury on my shoulder that I still have to this day. I find I struggle with hearing the sound. When I hear it, I feel kind of startled. I find if I'm trying to do something such as work on a school assignment or whatever, it can be very difficult to concentrate. As if it keeps going, I start to get really frustrated. My brain starts sorting through any possible way I can stop the noise. Yeah, I especially dislike it when I'm around people with dogs and they find ways to rile them up. I hate that. It freaks me out, and it makes me very angry in the moment. Another thing that a lot of autistic people tend to experience is a major obsession toward certain subjects, certain objects. This is especially different for everyone. For me, I love trains. Love trains. They're so cool to see. I especially love steam trains. And I'm not the biggest fan of loud noises. But weirdly, trains are something of an exception. I don't like all the loud noises. When a diesel locomotive is blowing its horn, I close my ears like this. I find with a steam locomotive's whistle, it doesn't bother me quite as much. I love the sound of the locomotive. I love the appearance. I love riding trains, watching trains. I love to just stand at railroad crossings and watch trains go past. Any train. And I have been blessed with being around many trains in my life. I grew up near a line where Norfolk Southern Railway ran, and right now I live not too far from an Amtrak train station where both diesel and electric locomotives stop. Um, see what else I can think of. I'll be honest, this video is unscripted. I thought the best way to explain autism is to explain it as raw as possible. I think people can really benefit from seeing it that way. A big topic that comes to mind with neurodivergence is socialization. Indeed, it can be tough. I've noticed I tend to struggle a lot to bond with people my age. I especially had that trouble growing up. Like in middle and high school, I struggled to work with people my age. I struggled to start up conversation with them, to understand what in the world they're talking about. And when I did bond with them, I found I got very overexcited and hyperactive. And that's a topic I'm going to make sure I get into later on. I bonded a lot more with people older than me, especially adults. Without a doubt, my parents have been some of the best friends I've ever had. My parents, my stepfather. A shout out to you guys, and thank you very much for helping me during all kinds of times, both good and bad. It means the world to me, and it's a major reason why I'm here now. I've found bonding with other people has gotten a lot easier going into college. It's weird, but when you go to college, maybe it helps that you're seeing people from, say, all over the country, maybe even other countries. Going to college, I've seen people from Virginia, Michigan, Delaware, Illinois, all kinds of locations. And it's like you naturally, whether intentionally or by accident, run into people who just seem to get you. You relate to them. You empathize with them. It's weird. But it turned out to be true when I experienced it myself. There's varying levels of maturity in college too. I find, like there are some freshmen that drive me crazy, their behavior. There are other freshmen that are great. I found I bond very easily with, for example, juniors who've, been in college for a couple of years now, and it seems it's really affected them. They seem more relaxed, more mature, professional. They feel like full-on adults. I said I'd go into hyperactivity. Definitely make sure to go into that. So when I talk about neurodivergence and autism, I'm not talking about ADHD as well, but believe it or not, both autism and ADHD hold a lot in common. Hyperactivity and focus is one of them. I have a hard time sitting down and doing the same thing for a long period of time, especially school assignments. I definitely need to keep any distractions out of my way. With hyperactivity, whenever I'm all by myself, for example, in my room, I will get very excited. I start pacing, walking back and forth. I'll start getting twitchy. My hands will start going like this. Like really excited. My mind starts moving at a mile a minute. I start thinking about things I really like. Trains, cartoons, Uh, Shopping malls. I'm not a big fan of shopping, but I just love walking through shopping malls. Um, yeah. When it comes to attention, I find I do struggle sometimes with attention when I'm in a conversation. It's not uncommon for when I'm listening to someone talk, where about halfway through like extended dialogue, I will without realizing it start thinking about things I like, like trains, cartoons, shopping malls. It only lasts like a few seconds. Then I come back in a conversation. I'm like, oh crap! But what are we talking about? Um, yeah. Um, let's see. Is there anything else I'm missing? Um, yes. Change in routine. I struggle to adapt to changes in my routine. Um, like, say I had a plan to do school assignments for 3 or 4 hours, and then get some dinner. After that, edit an essay for an hour, and then relax for 2 hours. If something happens that, like, say I'm having technical issues, or I'm like asked to do a favor for someone, I find it bothers me at first. It's like I need more time to adapt to it, because maybe 5 minutes later, it just feels like routine again to me to adapt. I noticed that is a common trend with being autistic. With a lot of things, I just need more time to accept it, to adapt to it. Um, my brain over analyzes everything. Um, Now, one of the main reasons I want to talk about all this is because I'm aware that a lot of people do not understand a lot of things about autism. Um, you can do all kinds of medical research, but really, the best way to learn more about autism is from people who are actually autistic. And when you look closely, you can tell when someone's actually autistic versus when somebody's faking it, making fun of it. Um, it's just trying to pretend, thinking like they're autistic just because they're a teenager experiencing all kinds of hormones. Um, you might also hear a lot of people say that as time goes on, there are more and more autistic people in the world. I struggle to find that is true. I think really we're better able to identify people with autism as time goes on. We have better technology. We're becoming more aware. Um, Autism, it's probably been around for the longest time. There were probably people in the 17th century, probably even before that, who were autistic or neurodivergent. Um, but couldn't identify that initially. Um, you know, as time went on, we learned more. We were better able to study the details. We had our technology for studying things improved, and now we have a lot more awareness for these things. As time goes on, we have more technology, more education. It's scary and beautiful at the same time. Um, Sometimes I do feel very bothered and upset that the world doesn't know more about autism. I feel like sometimes my life could be a lot easier if that was the case. But at the same time, I can't help but feel kind of grateful. Um, you know, I while some things might become harder with time, say I become more anxious, sometimes I become very depressed. Pardon me, I thought my Xbox made a noise. Um, yeah, I might become very anxious or depressed because of varying factors, such as something that occurs in my everyday life that scares me. Um, but then at the same time, I learn more about myself. And I think a few months ago, I was trying really hard to emulate what I thought was greatness, do all the things that people thought were great and that got them recognition, living life to my fullest, getting exercise, volunteering, doing all these great things that are just generally good for you. But the truth is, if you try to do all that, you're going to overwhelm yourself. And when you're neurodivergent, it's especially going to be overwhelming. And when you do struggle to defy the odds to such a high extent, it becomes really tough. It feels counterintuitive. It feels like it weakens your self-esteem. You feel like you just can't do it. And that's because what you really need to focus on is it's like appreciating yourself just the way you are, and from there realizing there's plenty of room for improvement, but it's like I need to go at my own pace. I can improve. It's not about how much I improve. It's a lot of us struggle with being ourselves because we're so likely to compare ourselves to others. It took me a while to realize that, but then I realized, like, just because I have all kinds of weaknesses that feel unfair doesn't mean doesn't mean everyone else in the world doesn't have weaknesses with which they really struggle. I just have my own unique set of circumstances, and when it comes to understanding them, I know more than anyone about what I need to do for myself. Not that I know everything. There's still lots to learn. There's lots I can learn. It's fun to learn those things. And to understand that, embrace it, and work from there, you will come very far in life. So before now, I felt like I didn't come very far. But now I feel quite the opposite. I got into college, I learned to drive, I overcame great grief in my life, graduated high school, I learned to ride a bike, I overcame my discomfort of roller coasters. And just because you didn't complete all those achievements and I did doesn't mean you should be ashamed of yourself. That's specifically what I did. There are a lot of things I wish I had done that I haven't. I wish that I had graduated college. I wish that I had a girlfriend. I don't have those things, but that doesn't suddenly mean that I'm not a just great person the way I am. Maybe I'll accomplish those things in the future. By really understanding myself and being willing to work at my own pace, being willing to try, but not kill myself trying, I'll do a lot more great things to come. I'm sure there's so much more I could share about autism, mental health, about the individual. But that's what I have for now. For my first major comeback video, I think this is a good place to start. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and also that it helped you get a better perspective of neurodivergent people, those with autism. Maybe even beyond that, those with ADHD, anxiety, depression. There will probably be more videos like this to come. I I love to learn from other people, their experiences. And I find, like I mentioned before, I feel like the best way to learn about autistic people, neurodivergent people, is to learn it from those individuals. I'd love to learn more, and if anyone wants to share their experiences, please help please go to town, because I love to read those things. I love to relate to people like that. Um, well, thank you very much for listening to me today. Uh, Please have a great day, have a great evening, and remember that you are great just the way you are. Please take care. You will do great things in the future.
Peace.